Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. Say the least, this has been a really stressful time. This is my third live stream. But this past weekend, Nick Shirley released a video on Twitter and X that at a particular moment in time, it has 110 million plus views. Talking about extreme fraud in Minnesota under what could have been our vice president, Governor Tim Walz. It's so funny to me that people that wind up saying, oh, I'm going to wind up investigating the fraud that happened under my watch, usually are people that are trying to, what is it called? Hide the fact that more than likely, somehow, I bet you money that kickbacks were happening. You know, it's ironic that let me start this with saying one thing. I have no problem with people coming into our country that are here to better themselves, to make a better life for themselves, to live the American dream, no matter what that might be, besides the fact of if you come here to try to steal our money that we, the taxpayers, pay, it becomes a real issue. And then it falls into the category of taxation without representation is theft. Bottom line. You know, you hear about all these people that represent you, myself, everyone that you know, everyone that I know, you know, representation in Washington or state levels. Well, that becomes a problem when people wind up padding their own pockets with our money. The money that has gone to Minnesota is unbelievable. Pam Bondi put out a tweet, an X post, whatever you want to call it, stating that there has been a lot of cases brought, a lot of people pleading guilty, so forth and so on. But it really comes to light when a normal Joe goes to Minnesota and literally shows it to we the American people. No news source did it. I mean, hell, the newspapers in Minnesota don't even cover it. So maybe they're getting kickbacks. Enough is enough, ladies and gentlemen, of the waste that happens in our country from our taxes, from gas taxes that are supposed to go to roadways and making them better. Instead, they go to paying, particularly in California, pensions. How does that help us? I'm so lost for words right now. I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying not to, lay out any bad words per se, but this is just, it's gone on too long. I didn't necessarily start paying attention to politics until Obama became president and that ridiculous health care got passed. Remember how they lied to you? If you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. Well, how did that work out? It didn't work out very well for many of millions of people. And the funny thing is, when it came to that, The people that were voting it for you and I wound up opting out of such said health care. Why is that? Because they knew? Let me read you guys something here. The founding fathers of the United States did not believe liberty would disappear in a single dramatic moment. They warned it would erode slowly through neglect, through fear, through emergencies that replace process, and through power that expands faster than accountability. Who's being accounted? Who's showing the accountability? Anybody? To know that $110 million in just a 41-minute video that Nick Shirley put out this past weekend as undisputable proof. I mean to tell you what, anybody that says that that is not true is an idiot. The proof is right there, 100%. What was it? 17, no, I'm sorry, it was 40. It was 40 healthcare companies within one building, all Somali owned and ran, getting our money. That's supposed to go for us. That's supposed to go for helping we, the American people. Like I said, I have no problem with people that come to this country and do it correctly. Go through the vetting. Become a legal citizen. Don't break our laws to get here. That's where the problems become. 100% when you have illegals coming here that don't give two shits about you or I or anybody that we know, that becomes a problem. So that warning was not philosophical. It was structural. The Constitution was not written for calm times. It was written for moments exactly like this. When public pressure is high, money is moving fast, institutions are stressed, and citizens are told to trust systems they can no longer see. No matter what anybody says right now, the system is broken, and it has been broken for many, many years. I'm 45 years old, and I can say that I believe the system has been broken long before I was ever thought of or born. I mean, probably the same goes to you guys. The Constitution, I already read that. Tonight's episode is about that architecture and what happens when it weakens. Because the story we're examining tonight did not just begin in Minnesota, and it did not begin in 2020. It is part of a recurring American pattern that stretches from earliest days to the Republic to the present. From the beginning, the United States has struggled with the same tensions: how to move quickly in crisis without losing accountability. During the Revolutionary War, supply fraud plagued the Continental Army. Congress created inspectors because private contractors were charging for supplies that were never arrived. During the Civil War, defense contracting fraud became so severe that Congress expanded federal oversight for the first time at scale. What good does oversight do if you can't ever get any recognition of what is really going on? If it wasn't for Nick Shirley, ladies and gentlemen, and getting 110 million views on a video that was documenting the fraud that is happening in Minnesota, what good does accountability do? It takes citizen journalists, apparently, that go above and beyond what the mainstream news media is supposed to do. That's what they're there for. The mainstream media is supposed to be there to right the wrongs, to tell people when things are going crappy. But I don't see that. I mean, I see maybe a little bit there on certain newscasts, but most of the people, you wind up seeing better reports from people that just have a camera and go to the places that are committing the frauds. And then you have Tim Walsh, like I said, this, oh, I'm going to investigate all this, even though it happened underneath of my watch. What a joke, man. $110 million. That doesn't even include the money that got, laundered to Ukraine. I feel bad for the Ukrainian people, but that's our money. That's our hard tax money being spent without our permission. People that we elected wind up going to Washington and voting to send our money to places that it should never go. Maybe a little bit, but I mean, the billions upon billions and upon billions of dollars, that could be money that's spent here in our country to make our country better. Our country's falling apart. Our bridges are falling apart. Our roads are falling apart. Our kids in our school can't even graduate on a high school level. How do you figure that is correct? It's not by any stretch of the imagination. Man, the complications in this whole entire thing is that we have people that represent us, that we have voted into office / power, however you want to look at it, that once they're there, who gives two craps? I mean, seriously, who cares? I do. I hope you do. But it's our money. It's not their money at all. It is a doggone shame what is actually going on. During the New Deal, emergency programs exploded in size and speed, forcing the creation of permanent audit agencies. Who's auditing them? I would love to know. During World War II, war profiteering led to congressional investigations. After 9/11, emergency surveillance powers expanded rapidly. During COVID, I don't even know if you're able to even say that word on YouTube, because back in 2020 when I did, holy cow, I got in trouble. That's why the channel was hidden for 4 years. During that time, emergency spending reached historical levels, often with reduced verification. Every generation faces the same dilemma, and every generation relearns the same lesson. James Madison, one of our founding fathers, in case you didn't know, understood this before the first Congress ever met. Federalist number 51. If men were angels, no government would be necessary. Madison was not insulting government. He was describing human nature. Power drifts unless restrained. Systems decay unless watched. What systems can we say have decayed? The FBI, certainly, under the last administration, they went after conservatives like crazy, left and right. I mean, September 23rd of this year, YouTube, Google, whatever, admitted to Congress under the Biden administration, they were asked, told, demanded, whatever you want to say, to censor people that were speaking freely. In what United States of America that we live in does that even make sense? Oversight is not optional in a republic. It is the price of legitimacy. Legitimacy. Now we turn to Minnesota. Federal authorities are investigating extensive fraud schemes tied to social service programs, including childcare assistance, food aid, housing programs, and Medicaid related services. As you can 100% see in Nick Shirley's video. If you have not seen it, I highly suggest that you do. It is mind-boggling. According to court filings and public statements, federal prosecutors, hundreds of millions of dollars in federal funds were misused, diverted, or fraudulently billed. Some prosecutors have warned that when multiple programs are examined together, total exposure could reach into the billions. That's our taxpayer money. It is a problem, wouldn't you think? Dozens of defendants have already been charged or convicted. Guilty pleas have been entered. Sentencing is underway. Additional cases remain active. This is not rumor. This is not social media speculation. This is public record. Much of this fraud traces back to the COVID emergency period when safeguards were loosened to move aid quickly. Speed replaced scrutiny. Verification lagged. Audits were delayed. Emergency governance became routine governance. How would you like to see your taxpayer dollars get spent in our country? One way that I would absolutely have no problem with, and I don't know, I might get a little bit of heat over this situation, but I would say that I would not mind one bit if real corrections within our 50 states are done. Well, what do you mean by that? Well, how about we actually clean our states up? There are people that should not be here that could possibly create way more problems than what fraud is. But the problem is the money that has been taken in fraud schemes more than likely may have gone to fund some stuff. I don't necessarily want to say what that stuff is because I don't want to get, oh, hell with it. I'm afraid that there may be really bad people in our state, in our country, in our states, everywhere. Some people might be looking at my hat. Doesn't say Trump anywhere on it. It does say MAGA, Make America Great Again. I do indeed agree with that because the simple fact that I have a son, I have a family, and I most certainly want our country to be around when myself is long and gone. I remember the way it was when I was growing up. It seemed like things were a lot better. But then again, maybe they weren't, because back then, the internet wasn't really available. People didn't have phones on their, cameras on their phone all the time. I mean, now people just got to click and point and shoot, film, whatever. So it's a lot harder to get away with stuff, I suppose. But nonetheless, it's the reality that we live in. It is a pathetic reality, an absolute pathetic reality. I mean, just think of what all our country could do with our own tax dollars. If the tax dollars that have been sent throughout the whole entire world for decades, years, whatever you want to put it. Imagine if that money was here in our country bettering us, we the American people. This is our country, and it's almost like we're becoming a third world country. Granted, I don't agree with everything that happens, but at least we have a president nowadays that is legitimately thinking of our country, of what our country needs to be, of what our country has lost. I can tell you right now with the Venezuela situation, not all the information has been put out there, but I can tell you that it's strategic. There's reasons. Hezbollah is in Venezuela. China is in Venezuela. I mean, good grief. They tried to do away, China tried to take over the Panama Canal. You have to ask yourself, why? All the presidents previous, besides 45 and 47, in my opinion, including Bush, I thought Bush was a good guy, but man, the more research you do, the more it just kind of makes you scratch your head and be like, what in the world was going on? When 9/11 happened, I was working in Bradenton, Florida, which is just north of the Sarasota Bradenton International Airport. I got to see Air Force One fly directly above the job site that I was working at. Huge plane. If you've never seen it, it's amazing. But thing is, the more and more you look at that stuff, who knows? Maybe it was an inside job. There's too many facts that say that it definitely might, possibly could have been. Man, screw this. I'm just going to talk. Ladies and gentlemen, I am just tired of this. In 2020, I started doing this program called What If News, okay, on a channel that I inherited from my father. And I got in major, major trouble. I have reapplied for monetization. I couldn't even tell you how many times. And I kept on getting turned down because I talked. The reason that I talked was back in them days, I was farming. And one of the people that I listened to quite regularly was Dan Bongino, which is at the present moment the assistant director of the FBI. One of the things that he said was, if you had a platform, you should use it. Use your platform to speak. And that is exactly what I did. I talked about it, right? I don't know if I'm even able to say that word on the internet, on this platform at all. I talked about all kinds of things that were based in facts, backed by facts, and got in drastic trouble to where this channel was hidden for 4 years until November 21st of this year, right after said corporations admitted that under the Biden administration, they were demanded to censor what was being said. It is, I just want our country to become what we stand for. What do we stand for? We stand for peace through strength. We stand for the American dream. We stand for liberty. We stand for justice. What justice is being done? Legitimately, what justice is being done? We see people go to court, and because of all the crooked judges, people are not held accountable. If people are not held accountable for what has happened in the last several years, decade, whatever else you want to call it, if people are not held accountable, this bullshit will continue to happen nonstop until there is no other country. Until this country is completely done. You know, one of the best things ever written was in 1964 by Paul Harvey, If I Were the Devil. If you don't know that, you should look it up. It's on YouTube. I imagine you probably do. You know, have heard it at least once. I mean, Dodge. Oh wait, no, Dodge used If I Were the Farmer. Yeah. But if I were the devil, what was said inside of that is what we're living in right now. From gambling. I mean, everywhere you look at, sports gambling's everywhere. You can gamble on whatever you want to. You know, it scares me a lot to see where our country is going, where it has been. And like I said, you know, when I was growing up, we were fed what the mainstream media wanted us to know. Whether it was right or wrong, truthful or false, lies, whatever. And many of them became lies. Obviously. It is mind-boggling to know where our country has gone. You know, in another aspect of things, with the open borders that happened during Joe Biden, it scares the living crap out of me because, in all honesty, we don't have a clue who's here. We don't know how many people actually came in. We don't know how many gotaways. We don't know where all the children went. Oh, wait, correction. We kind of do, because of the simple fact that, I don't know, last week or the week before, in my local town where I live at, a child escaped from a restaurant, a Mexican restaurant that is operated by cartel. They were working, these kids, to pay off their coyote debt of how they got across the border. And I'm in Tennessee, and it's pathetic because guess what? Cartels are everywhere. I would be 100% okay with military action to clean up our cities, our states, and to remove the people that got here unwarranted. You can be mad at me all you want. I don't really care. But you know what? The more I think about it, the more it makes sense. And like I said, it's mind-boggling to know the amount of people that came through the southern border that, one, they said came in. Two, the amount that was said that they just have no idea where they went. Michigan's a problem. Minnesota is a problem. Illinois is a gigantic problem. Man, I'm trying to be nice here. I'm really trying to be nice. I have no problem with people that come in the right way. I have no problem with people that had a really crappy life where they came from, and they come here looking to better themselves, not destroy our country, not tear down our statues, not graffiti our stuff, like it happened during George Floyd. I just don't understand. Let me correct that. I most certainly understand why people did what they did, because they want to destroy what we, the American people, believe in. People that have not lost the American spirit. What we believe in is family, God, country, hard work, and building a life for ourselves, our kids, and someday our grandkids. If things do not get put back correct, whatever correct might be, and the correct way that would be what America stands for. What we stand for is liberty and justice. People have got to get justice on what has happened. The fraud and the theft of our money, open borders, you name it. All the stuff that happened the past 4 years before 47, and then everything before 47, 45, whatever you want to call it, everything before Trump should be rectified. If you're a proud American, they always say, see something, say something. Nick Shirley surely did. Yeah, that was funny. Nick Shirley surely did. He went to Minnesota. He filmed it, $110 million in a 41-minute video of fraud. No kids, no medical, but yet these people are being paid for it. And then you have these idiot people that scream, oh, ICE is coming, don't open the door. Don't. You know what, man? I hope ICE continues to do their job, in which I obviously believe they're going to. I mean, they keep on doing what they're doing. But ladies and gentlemen, it's a scary thought to think of what the possibilities of what could happen to our country. If you listen to certain people, there's people that say that there are at least 1,000 ISIS inside our country that are planning to do something. What if that's true? The possibilities of that being true is gigantic. I mean, if you think that it's not, then you're a fool. They've said it. They've said it many, many times. Remember? Death to America. That's what it's all about. They want to kill the American dream. And how do you do that? You take away people's liberty. You take away people's money. You steal it. You launder it. You support the things that ultimately hurt our country. Is that good? Not for us. Look around you. How do you want your country to be? We live in the greatest country of the world. Or at least it used to be. It still is. But the fraud in the fake representation, people get elected, and then who gives two shits about these guys? Nah, it can't be. It shouldn't be. How do we fix it? That's the true question. How in the world do we fix it? Knowledge is the key. The more you know about the situations at hand, the more information that you can provide people, whether they want to believe it or not. Don't listen to what I'm saying. Read your own stuff. Look it up. You know, if you take one news story and you read another news story and you put those two news stories together, then more than likely you're able to form your own thought process of what those two news stories are. You know, it's funny, not too long ago, and I'm pretty sure that it continues today, but you had many people write news stories that were not true, and they got awards for it. I mean, that's almost like getting a participation trophy. It's mind-boggling. I'm just a guy with a camera with a YouTube channel. Maybe I'll just start doing this because I can't get any other traction going on right now. Just do live streams. Is it a rant? Sure. But ladies and gentlemen, real fraud is happening, my opinion, every single state. And then people in Washington send more money over to different countries. And from what I can tell from stories that I've recently read, apparently the money that winds up going to other countries somehow winds up coming back over here to pad other people's pockets that first originally voted to send it to different countries. Taxation without representation is theft. You know, you can say, oh man, this person got elected or that person got elected. Well, like I said, once they're there, who gives two shits about you and I? I did a video that had to do with gas tax and the absolute fraud that happens with gas tax. From paying pensions, gas tax is supposed to go to fixing our roads. Republican ran states have nicer roads than democratically ran states, without a shadow of a doubt. One in particular would be Illinois. I travel pretty regularly to Illinois, or had been. And those roads and bridges are horrendous. A lot of the bridges I'm afraid to even drive over because I've seen the underneath of them, going underneath the overpass, you know, and all that shit's all rusted and the concrete's breaking. And where's the money going to? Is it going to help you? Is it going to help anybody? The only people that it seems to be going to help are people that don't even belong here. And when I say belong here, they got here more than likely illegally. I don't know what the population is of Somalians in Minnesota, but it is high. Are all of them bad? Probably not. Are 90% of them committing fraud? Who knows? Apparently, there's court cases going on. There's people, you know, pleading guilty, getting sentenced. Well, if that happens and they plead guilty and they get sentenced, then what? Oh, that's right. If they go to jail, then taxpayers still pay. My opinion is they shouldn't freaking be here. If people come to our country without doing it the correct way by actually becoming legal citizens, going through the vetting process, actually can speak our language. I mean, California, among other states, gave CDL license to people that can't even read road signs. And I'm going to tell you why that's a big problem. I have driven over the road for many, many years. Many years. I do not do that anymore. But as I travel in just a normal vehicle, some of the stuff that I see from semi drivers blow my mind. They don't use CBs anymore. I mean, very little. Very, very little. That's one of the ways that, in case you don't know, semi drivers, at least back in the day when I was really driving semi, I mean, I've driven millions and millions of miles all around this country. One of the main ways of communication in a semi is by a CB radio. I mean, when you driving semi and another semi passes you and you flash your lights, a lot of semi drivers have no idea what that even means anymore. I hope you do. It's a shame to see what this has become. I hope it gets fixed. I hope it gets rectified. I hope that, once the time is up for Trump, I hope it doesn't go back to a more shittier situation. I hope that things get rectified and fixed. I hope people are held accountable. I hope Pam Bondi steps up to the plate and really starts doing stuff. I mean, without people being held responsible, this will continue. And it is a very sad fact to know that. When people get a slap on the wrist, what happens? Oh no. And then they continue doing it. I don't know about you, but enough is enough, man. This is our country. We, the American people. If you want to come to this country and become part of we, the American people, respect our laws. Learn to read English. Learn to read signs. Don't commit fraud. Don't steal taxpayer money. Taxpayer money is supposed to go to help people that are unable to help themselves, such as people that, might need food stamps. But then the fact of that is there's fraud in that situation. It's when you take away the drive in people to better themselves and you do nothing but give handouts, then that is exactly what you're going to get. That's it. It's simple. That is how you kill the American dream. That is how you absolutely just kill it. Kill it all. And it's a sad fact, because the simple fact that if that does indeed continue to happen, the next generations to come are screwed. I keep on thinking about my son when he gets older. I mean, he's almost 20. Good grief. He'll be 20 coming up real soon. But as he becomes older, gets married later on in life, has his own kid, kids, whatever. What's going to be left? What is going to be left of our country if the situations that have happened for a long time, long time, do not get rectified and corrected? Rectified and corrected has to do with justice being served. Like, oh, I don't know, the 51 Intel agents that said the laptop was a bunch of bullshit. I guess it wasn't, was it? I got in trouble about talking about that too. You know, it's amazing how ass backwards this situation is. Like I said, I hope it's being rectified. But until we see justice stand with liberty, it's like ducks in a barrel, monkeys in a barrel, whatever you want to call it. Nothing will be done until people that created this situation are held accountable. I've said that many times in this video, live stream, whatever. I apologize, but it's the truth. Without justice, all of this is for nothing. Corruption, absolute, corrupts. It's simple. That's the reality of what we live in. We see it every single day. But as we, the American people, see it every single day, it is time. Maybe this whole Nick Shirley thing, maybe this whole Nick Shirley video will give people the power, will give people the courage that if they see something, to film it. You see corruption? Film it. Put it out. The more people know, the better off. Knowledge is power. Without knowledge, what do you have? You don't have nothing. The more you read, you know, mainstream media is pretty much dead. I mean, NBC, ABC, MSNBC, you know, all those jokers. I bet you if I never got messed with, I'd have a bigger viewership than they do. Back in 2020, when I was doing this, before I got in trouble, February 5th of 2021, when they tried taking away, oh, let me correct that. They took it away. But, you know, monetization, that's how they try to control you. Money is key. That's how they control. Take away money, maybe people will stop talking. I didn't. But then I had to, because of a certain situation that happened after February 5th, 2021. That situation had to do with when I put out videos after that date. I was lucky to see 200 views in months. Before that situation, any video that I put out would get hundreds of thousands of views within the first several hours. Since coming out of demonetization, November 21st of this year, now apparently I have to retrain the algorithm for people to see my videos. Go figure. But whatever. I'm a survivor. I'll keep on kicking. But ladies and gentlemen, if justice is not served to the people that have done the unthinkable to this country, that have tried to destroy it, and believe me, it's a lot closer than you think it is, then this stuff's just going to continue. Believe you me, I wouldn't be surprised if sometime in the near future, impeachment papers will be drawn up against Trump again. Why not? They did it before. They indicted him. They tried to do all kinds of things, including trying to take his life. That is not America. That is not the American dream. When you try to silence somebody or people because of what they say, then you're the one that's afraid of conversation. Maybe you're the one that's afraid to, I don't know, be proven wrong. There's so many, there's a lot less now, but there's still so many misinformed people. I mean, in 2020, I lost family members because I'm an American and I think like an American and want the best for America because I supported somebody that wants the best for America too. No matter what you think, say, or do, if people can't communicate back and forth and have civilized conversations, then they've already killed part of that American dream. I'm going to leave you with that. I don't even know how long I've been rambling on here. Ladies and gentlemen, I will do more live streams, and I hope to see you here. I don't even know how many people are watching, or if anybody is watching for that matter. But time will tell. What is going to happen to our country? Without justice, our country dies. And I surely don't want that for you or myself or my son or his kids to be, his marriage, your kids, grandkids, whatever. I don't want that. America is a beacon of hope throughout the world. That's why people come here. When they come here legally and correct, because they want to see what this great country has to offer. It still has a lot to offer, but it has a lot less to offer than it has. God bless you all, and I hope to see you soon.